Welcome back, everybody, here to your coverage of the ESL 1. I'm Tubby1.
And I'm the Capitalist.
See, no longer forever alone. Yeah. He's finished his stuff over with the D2CL qualifiers and has now come over to join me for our last series of the night. So it's a two-game series. Roskis going up against the boys called Sensei, which I think is also meant to be like My Insanity is also the name of their team.
Yeah,
so,
one of those teams who has seemed to have adopted two different names for their team.
Yeah, multiple. Can you have multiple senseis? It's like being unloyal to your first sensei. It's like one's telling me to wax on, one's telling me to wax off. I can't combine the two.
Well, once you surpass your sensei,
so
then you find a new sensei.
When you find My Insanity,
then you find insanity.
Yeah, well, that's just weird. But let's get ourselves inside the game. So Roskis already off to a rough start, and they need a. Oh yeah, that's all. Oh yeah, that'll be good.
Not really set up for me to hear things just
Cap's
yet.
just like, I don't have any audio. I'm like, well, that's maybe because this cable ended up like flying halfway across the room.
There we go.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Roskis off to a rather bad start tonight. They ended up going down 2-0. That was going up against Team Dog, or I say Team Dog ended up going up 2-0, which was really the big matchup. These are the two invited teams which were the favorites for the group, and that means that Roskis have some real hard work to do right now. Up against MYI, I don't want to call them that, do we?
Yeah, we just call them Sensei. I mean, it's what we have on,
on our overlays.
It's what they told us their name was.
That's well done. I heard that just a moment ago too. I should have listened to the own logic.
Yeah, you should have. Don't worry, Toby. I'll just be there to bounce back your own ideas back at you. So
thanks, Cap. That's right. So I got to crank your audio up a little bit more, so we can actually hear your ideas, Cap. So we can hear your ideas. Yeah, but Roskis, they basically did a 2-0 win in my mind for this game.
Oh, yeah, they cannot afford. I mean, when you lose 2 games against the other favored team, you cannot afford to lose any games against the smaller teams. You would just have to hope that Team Dog, that's where they end up faltering.
Yeah. If that happens to the Serbians, they're going to be really, really angry. These guys came through the open qualifiers. I was talking about them during our earlier games. The Serbians have been at the last 2 ESL ones, I believe. They've qualified every single... Actually, they're at every single ESL one apart from the original. Mm-hmm. They got through it every other one. But right now, like, ESL has just cranked up the level of this tournament. So it's a lot harder to get in. You don't have that many EU slots anymore. We've already got 2 teams coming from the EU and CIS region. That's Navi as well as Alliance, directly invited to Frankfurt. But then we're pulling in teams from Southeast Asia, from China, from America. There's all of these different teams which were just pumping into the scene, pumping into the competition. And they all battled out for 2 days in Frankfurt. It's a rough run. It's a rough run to actually get to that position. And like, this is like the first part. This is the group stages. You don't just. It's not like our old tournaments where it's like, oh, number 1 the group stages. You're coming to ESL. It's you got to go through the playoff then.
Right. Right, so you need to be able to have a good standing within your group to be able to give yourself as much leeway going into the playoffs. This is something, though, that My Insanity, Sensei, excuse me, I remember I've casted these guys once or twice in the past, or at least some of these guys, I mean the actual players. Booktop, I don't remember how to pronounce his name,
Victor.
but
it's Victor.
Are you talking about goalie?
No. Victor. Booktop is actually pronounced Victor.
Oh, that's right. I remember that now.
And then you got Grazine.
Grazine, right.
You've got Cole. You got Gogi.
Okay, I don't recognize the name Cole, but Gogi.
You'll know
his name.
You know Victor, Grazine, and Gogi, because these guys played for a long time. In fact, 2 of them were part of the original Fnatic squad.
They were also part of One, the old One squad.
Yeah. But before all of that, I
right.
don't know if you remember the grand final at DreamHack in one of the very first time Dota 2 was at DreamHack. It was in the Dream Arena, and you had Wild Honey Badgers going up against Fnatic.
Oh, I remember that name now. Yeah.
So the Wild Honey Badgers was Cinderin's team. Fnatic was Grazine and Gogi. These are the guys, and they're playing with Mitch, and they're playing with a couple of other guys. So that was the Serbian Fnatic, which was up on the main stage. Those 2 guys are from that roster, so yeah, they've been around for a while, but you are right. Like, Cole's name we don't really recognize too much, and Sidika is something I'm not that familiar with either.
Yeah, so some veterans mixing in with some, maybe amateurs. Maybe they've been around the scene for a while, but they haven't really made it to those big teams.
If we're all watching the Balkan Dota League tournament, we'd probably know more about them. Because that's what they're playing. They play there every night. And I remember I actually stood in for a scrim for these guys. I stood in for them. Actually, did I? I think I might have even stood in for these guys for the ESL 1 qualifiers. I'm not sure if I should. No, I can say that because we had this conversation in the office earlier today to know if people from the office can actually play in our competition. So we just can't accept money. But yeah, actually, I was just standing because I think it was just one of them was late to the party, and I ended up standing in for them. And I'm like looking at the draft, and they're playing up against another team from the Balkan region, like from Serbia.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was like watching the draft, and it's like, yo, guys, why are you drafting like this? This makes no sense whatsoever.
Very specific type of draft that you only find in certain regions. See, I got that all the time when I used to be casting a lot of the American games.
Yeah, when you cast South American games.
Yeah, you bring in the South Americans, man. You bring in the Brazilians, the Brazilians and the Peruvians.
Yep.
Man, they have their own style of drafting, and they've just like, and that's what happens when you get some of these tier 3 teams. They start out their career facing up against other Brazilians, other Peruvians, and it's a certain type of drafting. You see that in the Korean scene still, which gets a lot more coverage despite the fact that it's still lower tier games.
Yeah.
You get a certain type of drafting. Yeah. And so you get to see the revival of certain heroes that aren't really normal. But so far in the draft, it's pretty standard, especially with Roxkiss going with what they love and know. Man, this is going to be a real rough game for Sensei.
This is Rodskis knowing exactly what they're supposed to do. It's Lycan. Hey!
Yep.
Necro units, massive amounts of units. We're going to put a lot of trees on the field. The Chen was already been banned out here by Sensei. They realize what can happen too. With the Krob as well as the Chen, you just lose towers left, right, and center. The Krob maybe not as much, but I know it's starting to become a little bit more of a favorite in the scene of recent times. But you could grab anything you wanted to out of that middle. The Invoker was banned out, so maybe you think of something else. In this game too, you could almost put Lycan into that middle lane. Put Nature's Prophet towards the off lane, so they got a lot of options that way. Tree and Protector coming up here for my insanity. I'm a little bit concerned about this pickup because it's too defensive in my mind.
Yes.
It takes too long to come up. You've got Visage as well as Tree and Protector, and these guys have to be ready to fight up against Roskiss from basically level 4. And both these heroes, at level 4, like Visage isn't as bad because, like, you still got your Soul Suction burst damage. It's not that bad. Treant, if they come in close, then Leech Seed will come up. But you got Bane and Nature's Prophet that will control the positioning in the fights.
Yeah, I think that while I did initially I did agree with that, the Tree and Protector being kind of too defensive of a pickup, but we've seen the kind of rise of Tree and Protector being in more aggressive positions, and I also love to see the Tree and Protector specifically up against the Lycan, not because of Living Armor though. Living Armor will not protect you from this push. With the Lycan Nature's Prophet combo, any tower that they get onto is done for. That is just way too much pushing power with summons mixed in with Howl. That's just way too much damage. But Overgrowth is really good up against Shapeshift.
I've been told by the chat that it's actually Chetica. Is how we're meant to pronounce the 5th guy in the MYA lineup.
Okay.
Yeah, Chetica.
Fair enough. If
I read it correctly, they put a huge ass capital CH and then the Etika at the end. So I go Chetica. It was the way I would say that, but it starts to sound more like some kind of cheese. It's just a little bit weird. Roskiss now go with the Bane and, well, with the Lich, sorry. I'm surprised they're picking up the Lich in this lineup for the one and only reason. They also banned out the Centaur, which was the dual lane, which it seems every major team out there is sort of seeing if they could just slip through in the last phase of the picking. But you're getting a Lich. If they get something else like a Bristleback in this matchup, then maybe it'll make a little bit more sense. Because then they can do their dual lanes. So you run Lycan on the bottom. Then again, where do you fit in the Prophet and everything else? Like Prophet can go top lane, but if you're running a dual lane, you can switch it up a little bit more. Yeah, it just feels very passive for a lineup where you got Prophet and Lycan, so much push potential. I'm interested to see what Goblike does as the last one. Then maybe I'll understand his logic a little bit more.
Yeah, something that's also interesting, the Ember Spirit still not picked or banned, which is just absolutely crazy because he is, Lycan I think is the top pick right now. Any team, if they have a choice between Lycan and Ember Spirit, will take the Lycanthrope. However, I think many people still put Ember Spirit in the same range of this hero's damn powerful, if not overpowered, right next to the Lycan, probably second place. Right, the win rate for Ember Spirit is 50-50. The win rate for Lycan, though, is out of this world. It's like 70% right now.
Well, we saw in the last game just probably the reason why Roskis want to avoid the Ember Spirit. No matter how much farm you got on him, it takes so much time to bring him online.
Right.
Of course, Roskis did try and play the double whammy, where they ran Weaver and the Ember Spirit, which both take at least 25 minutes to come online. And